Hey, this is Rick with Outdoor Emergencies at hikingemergencybeacon.com, and today I'm out here for a short hike to compare the ZOLEO against the Garmin inReach Mini 2. And I want to see if one is better than the other as a total package, or is one better than another depending on your use. Maybe you're using it for camping or hiking or four-wheel off-road. Is there one that's actually better? Well, that's what we're going to find out today. But hey, hang with me till the end of the video, because I'm going to go over the top 11 satellite communicators of 2023. And I'm going to rank them, and I'm going to group them. So maybe you're into hiking. Well, there's some that are better for hiking than others. Maybe you're just camping and you want a way to communicate. Or you're four-wheeling ATVs. So watch to the end and I'll give you some great advice and tips and maybe help you figure out which satellite communicator is best for you. All right, we're finally out here to get this review done, this field test. And we're gonna just break this down item by item. We're gonna start with the physical features first. And so here's the Garmin inReach Mini 2, if you're not aware of it. Here's the ZOLEO right here. I'm gonna have screenshots right here of both of the specifications, or at least some of the specifications. So you'll see size, weight, battery type, and how long the battery lasts. But physically, these things are about the same size. I mean, I think the Mini 2 is slightly taller. I really don't want to pull this off my pack right now. This here has a clip on it, and to me it's not the most convenient. The Mini 2 is way more convenient with this backpack tether, so there'll be a link in the description below. This is something you really need to have when you have the Mini 2 or the GPS Map 67i. So it's just not really convenient to pull that on and off your pack. Now you can sync both of these with your smartphone so you can see things, and a lot of times you wouldn't even need to pull them off your pack. And in fact, that's what I do in a lot of cases with the Mini 2 also. I'll just leave it on my pack and I'll use my phone. So again, both of them have apps that they use. The Mini 2 can use the Explorer app for the maps and the navigation, and then the Messenger app for SOS, weather, and two-way messaging. This one here uses the ZOLEO app, and everything pretty much you can do, well, you can do more on the app because there's not a lot you can do here. So let's run through the ZOLEO first. So on the ZOLEO, there's a power button on the top. There's a check-in button on the front top. The most important thing here is the SOS cover. And I do have a subscription on this, so if I were to hold that down for about 3 seconds, then the search and rescue teams would come for me. All right, so they have lights on here. And so it'll tell you here, this one here is if you have a message, and there's little icons here that show you. Here's the check-in. This one here is for power, and then this one here is for SOS. And when you turn it on and off, then they all will light up for a second, and then it makes some nice little sounds. But that's pretty much all there is to it. The battery, where is the battery? Well, of course, the battery is inside, and then here on the bottom is a USB or C, not a USB-C, but it's the older type of USB port, and this is where you would charge, or maybe you might get software updates. All right, so that's basically it. Size-wise, both of these, they both have clips on the back, so they're thicker than they normally look. Width-wise, they're actually about the same, or depth-wise, they're about the same. Width-wise, if I turn it sideways, the Mini 2's, just not as wide, but it's almost really slightly taller with the antenna. Overall, it's a smaller device, but weight-wise, they're probably about the same. But again, you've already seen the specifications. Okay, so let's talk about the Mini 2 real quick. Again, it has this backpack tether. We'll start with that. You just pull this bottom out and slide it off, and it Velcros. Now, I want to remind you, if you want to use the backpack tether with the Mini 2, you have to get a spine adapter. For some reason, Garmin doesn't send this with the Mini 2. They did with the Mini, but they told me that people carry these all kinds of different ways, and the spine adapter isn't always what people want. I would probably disagree with them, and I do. But just push that back up, snaps in place, and put it right back on your pack. This is really out of the way. It keeps the antenna pointed skyward, and it's so small I really don't notice it. Both of these, now this one feels just slightly bigger. I can tell it's there. This one here is just a little bit smaller, but that's beside the point. They're both pretty small. All right, on the Mini 2, this is the antenna, power button on the top. On your right, there's an OK button, and then a back button, and then the SOS cover is right here. Again, hold it down for about 3 seconds, and search and rescue will come for you. I've done tests already on this. There's going to be a video right here, and it's going to be about the IERCC test. I did 2. I'll have both of them linked in the description below. One of them, I was in self-service. I was able to talk to him on this, and the second one, I was outside self-service, so all of it was by messaging. So they're both, that one here is for you to see there, and then both are in the description below. On the right side, there's an up and down arrow, and then there's a USB-C port here, and it's under a rubber cover. Now these are both waterproof. I want to say maybe the Mini 2's got a little bit better waterproof protection. I'll have some information on the screen right here that will show what kind of waterproof protection they have. All right, so this one has the screen. This one does not have a screen. The ZOLEO does not. There's a lot more, you know, it's not like you can do everything like you can on the 67i, but there is a lot more you can do on the Mini 2. And it has a screen. You can message from it, you can get weather from it, you can see your tracks, you can see the course. Now you can't see a topo map on it, but you can see your course. If you set the course up ahead of time, then you'll see it here, and it'll tell you if you're on or off course. And if you're tracking back, you'll see the tracks being set down or the activity recording being set down. So there is quite a bit of information here, more than you might expect. All right, let's start with SOS first. But there's no reason for me to start with SOS actually, because I've already told you both of these have these covers on them, and you just depress that and the search and rescue teams will come for you. The nice thing about having two-way messaging is they'll call you or they'll contact you by message, and they will confirm that it's a real emergency. The second thing they're going to do is they're going to ask about your type of emergency. How many people are involved? What kind of accident is it? And then they can coordinate with emergency services to help you out faster, to have a better response with the right crew, the right amount of people. All right, two-way messaging. We're going to go through this, and we're going to kind of do it a quicker way. I can do the two-way messaging on this right here, and it's harder. I've got some videos on it, how you do that on the device, and that'll be in the description below. I'm going to put a playlist for the Mini 2 right here, and it'll be down below also. And I go through every single thing. I mean, how you SOS, how you message, how you navigate, how you track back, how you get weather. It's all there in a lot of detail. I break it all down so it's easier to understand, and it's just easier to present that information to you guys in smaller pieces rather than all at one time. All right, so what I do is I put my devices on my pack. I'll just leave them there, and I get my phone out. So I'm going to have screenshots of this here. And so, like I said, the Mini 2 will use the Explorer app and the Messenger app. The ZOLEO will then use the ZOLEO app. So everything I do here, I'm going to start with the ZOLEO first. All right, so on the ZOLEO, if you want a message, you go into the ZOLEO app. Now make sure you're always, connected. Check ahead of time that your subscription's active. And see, right now I've got a follow me, SMS, and email is successfully enabled. All right, so hit OK on that. So right here I have all of my contacts. Now this you need to set up at home. You cannot set up your contacts out here with the ZOLEO. But I can then pick on any one here, and I could pick on myself if I want to not bother people today. And if I do that, then there's a lot of messages that are already here, and I can type a message, and it's super simple. It's just like when you're texting on your phone. You got the keypad down below, so I'm just going to say test 1 and just keep it simple today. And so it's really easy to type in, and then I hit that send button, and there it's off, and I should get a beep here when it sends it. Now let's go ahead and do this, the same thing with the Mini 2. Now it's that simple. I've just done it, so it's a matter of now waiting for the responses. Now this is going to send this to my cell phone, but since I do have service here, then I should get it pretty quick. All right, let's go look at the Mini 2. On the Mini 2, I want to make sure we're clear about this. The Explorer app is really only for navigation, topo maps. The Messenger app is for, as I mentioned earlier, is for SOS, two-way messaging, and weather. So in this case, we're going to go into the Messenger app. And again, I have all my emails right here. And then I can pick on somebody. There's a Rick and a Rick. I probably have two different things here, a phone number and an email. And we're just going to go into that. And again, I'm going to say this, let's call this one test 2. And it's going to be test 2 because first one's always going to be the ZOLEO. Number 2 is going to be the Mini 2. All right, so there's test 2. Map share is on, it looks like. So I'm sending that. There's the test 2. It's been sent. And so again, we're going to wait for the messages to be sent and received. Now, when you're using satellite services, sometimes you might have to wait a minute to 5 minutes, depending on how clear view of the sky you have. Maybe you might be in self-service, and both of these work in self-service. And of course, and then you might be out in the mountains and have no cell service. So then it's got to communicate through the satellites. All right, so that's how easy it is to message. I really want to talk about maps next. Now the ZOLEO has maps in a way. Just want to be careful because I might mess this up. I was not able, in my reviews in the past, I cannot see a map on my smartphone when synced. Now, if I'm sending a track out, I can see that, and you can download offline maps, but honestly, it's not really valuable to have maps on this. It's kind of I wouldn't say primitive, but there's not a lot you can get from the maps. And it's probably better to use something like AllTrails and Gaia and some of these others where you have the maps on your phone and you can navigate. So I wouldn't use the ZOLEO for maps. So that's one big difference. If you want to navigate with the ZOLEO, forget it. It's not really going to work that well for you. If you want to navigate with the Mini 2, now you're going somewhere, all right? As I said earlier, you can see your tracks, you can see the course on here if you set it up ahead of time. And if you're navigating by the course or the route, you can actually see that on the device. When you're synced with your phone, now you can see the topo map. So again, this is a big difference between the Mini 2 and the ZOLEO, because right now I can go into the Explorer app and I can see exactly where I am. I'm at the Dawson's Butte Open Space Trail. There's a blue triangle and it shows me right where I'm at, where I'm doing this video. It actually shows the trails out here. And so if I want to create a course, I can then just pick on this. I can hit the plus icon, and I've done this plenty of times, so I'm going to have some screenshots up, but I'm going to do it right here for you real fast. I'm going to hit the plus icon and it says create course and create waypoints. I'm going to create course, and then it's waiting for me to put some points down. So this is so easy on this. I'm going to put a point down about where I'm at, and then I'm going to put a point. Let's see, I'm going to put a point by the trail here so it hits the trail. I don't have to do that because it would actually hit the trail and then follow it. But then I'm going to go all the way over to the road, and there's 2 trails over there, and I'm going to put a point down way out over there, and see right there what happened. It hit the trail, and because there's no trail right here, and then it just created a course, and I didn't have to put waypoints down all over the place. When you're doing routes on, like say on the Explorer.Garmin site, it's the only way I found to do things there is by routes, and you have to put waypoints down to describe your route. But with this is so much easier to create courses on the Explorer app, because really all you have to do is hit one point where you're at, one point where you're going. And if there's no trails or roads, then yeah, you have a problem. So if that's the case, then you can look on here and you can see the aerial or a topo map, and you can put points, and if you see a river or a mountain or something, you can put waypoints around it to describe your course. But in this case here, when there's roads around, then it'll give you the most direct route to that location. All right, so now you can save right here, and I'll show you real fast. I'm not going to run through all this, but I do have some real in-depth videos on navigating and track back. Again, those will be in the description below. And if you hit the playlist, then that will all be in there. You can change the name here. You hit go. Now I have a Garmin Fenix 7X Sapphire watch that'll navigate to, so it'll ask me, do I want to navigate on my Garmin watch or do I want to navigate on the Mini 2? So again, I don't want to run into all that detail too much. I've already probably have. I just really want to let you know that the Mini 2 will blow the ZOLEO away with the maps and navigation and trackback. So like say on tracking, for example, there's really no reason to talk about the ZOLEO for tracking, because it will send tracks out to your family and friends, and even you can see your tracks. And that may help. And so what I'm probably going to do is go into a more detailed video in the future about how you can see your tracks yourself and then maybe find your way back. I haven't actually gone into that in detail right now, so all I'll say is I think there's a way to do that. It's not as powerful as the Mini 2. But on the Mini 2, when you're navigating, or maybe you don't even navigate and you just head out, if you're lost all of a sudden and you didn't start tracking, you can hit track back and it'll take you back to your starting point. Now you may only have one point and you still may have to use your mind and your eyesight and go, okay, well, there's an obstacle here, I got to go around, or whatever it might be. But if you like I set my activity recording to high, so it tells me exactly where I go, and I always start tracking. I start tracking for two reasons. I want my family and friends to see where I'm at, in case they're worried or need to find me. Maybe something happened at home and I'm okay, but something happened to them. When I'm map sharing, they can click on that map share link and then they can message me. And then that tracking is also for me, because it gives me greater information when I'm out, when I want to track back or navigate back. All right, one of the last things is the weather. Now again, we're leaving our devices on here. You cannot get the weather on the ZOLEO by itself. You have to be synced with your phone. On the Mini 2, you can get weather by itself. It shows up, it's a little bit smaller, but it does show up. I will say, some people will say that the weather is not as accurate or is not as much information on the ZOLEO as the Mini 2. Based on what I've seen and what I'm going to show you today, I do think there's more information on the Mini 2. But let's look at the ZOLEO first, and we're going to get a weather forecast. So I'm going to click on the ZOLEO app, and now I'm going to get out. I was in my messaging. I'm going to go down to the bottom, and you can see right down here, there's messages, there's weather, there's SOS, and then there's a gear icon on the right for your settings. So right now I'm going to hit the weather, and it says choose current location, or yes, it says choose location, use current location or different. So I'm going to use current location, and let's see, it's already updated. Now it's updating quickly here because I'm in cell service. And before I forget this, I want to just tell you guys real quick, the ZOLEO will go from Wi-Fi to cell service to satellite service without you doing anything. If you're going to use satellite service, you want a clear view of the sky. That's one powerful thing about the ZOLEO. So I've already got the weather. If I go try to click on anything here, right now I'm clicking on some stuff, and there's some information at the top. It goes day by day. It only goes out tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It goes out 4 days. And depending on your subscription, you might get more. Now down here, it has the weather, it has the wind direction, it has percent of precipitation and visibility, etc. And it says it's powered by Eris Weather. All right. This is the difference between the ZOLEO and the Mini 2. The Mini 2, and I'll have it on the screen if I'm wrong, but the Mini 2 should be powered by Black Sky. I think that's what it is. If I said that wrong, it'll be on the screen. All right, the sun's about to go down. So let me take off my sunglasses real quick, because sunglasses can only make you look so cool. All right, so that's really all there is on the weather. Then what happens here too is, so right now it's about 7, it's almost 7 o'clock. It shows 8 o'clock to 4 a.m. and then it goes to 2 p.m. tomorrow. It's not 24 hours, maybe about 20 hours. And so that's what you see. That's what you get from the weather on the ZOLEO. It is nice. It's really good to have. The weather's not always perfect with this, but it will give you an indication of what's going on, especially when you're out, maybe high up in the mountains, and you want to maybe kind of see if there's some storms coming in. It's not always perfect. I'll give you an example. About 3 weeks ago, we were down at the Miramonte Reservoir. The weather was supposed to be perfect that night. We had the most horrendous storm that I've been in a long time that kicked up and basically almost took 3 tents down. If you want to see information on that and how the tents held up, you can go to MikeandRickOutdoors.com, and then we have a YouTube channel called Mike and Rick Outdoors, all one word, and it's not and, it's in. That'll be in the description below. And also in the description below, I'll have the video where I'm talking about how well these tents did. And again, it was about the, we're talking about weather here, but we did our best and we thought we had a great evening that night as far as weather. And it about took us down, the severe lightning storm. And I say take us down, our tents down. But Mike and I have some Kodiak canvas tents. And this is Mike from Mike and Rick Outdoors, and I'm Rick. And we have really good 4-season tents, and those things were just as solid as can be. We had some box store tents that, for 150 bucks or so. Those were having trouble. And we staked them down pretty good to start with, but anyway, if you want to see that video, check it out in the description below. Now let's check out the weather real quick on the Mini 2. Now again, you have to go to the Messenger app. So we're going to click on weather, and it says update forecast. And here is where you can pick different types of weather. I will add real fast that you cannot get marine weather with the ZOLEO. You can on the Mini 2, but just remember on the Mini 2 and the 67i, if you want marine weather, you better be in a large body of water or put your waypoint out someplace. So say if you're going to the Great Lakes, that's a large enough body of water. I'm not sure if something like Table Rock Lake or the lake over by Mount Shasta, if that's big enough or not. But if you're out in the Gulf of Mexico, in the ocean, you're definitely out in a big enough body of water. It'll give you wave height, time between waves, the current, things like that. But right now, you can see here it's giving me basic, extended, marine plus basic, and marine plus extended. What I'm going to do right here is I'm going to go extended. So now it shows extended type, forecast type is extended. I'm going to hit get forecast. Now, it's sending the request. This is where you have to wait for it to send the request and then to receive it. So we're going to have to spend a few minutes here. But while we're waiting for this, now this says hourly is not available. I'm in the Gulf of Mexico. Why am I in the Gulf of Mexico? I want to go to my location. So let's go to my location, and we may have to update the forecast again. Okay, I think I was basically in the marine weather. So I'm going to go back to extended. And let's try this one more time, get forecast, and it says my location. I'll bet you if I go back and look at it, it was the marine weather out in the Gulf, and that's why it wasn't giving me anything. So it says hourly is not available at this time. Why? I do not know. I get hourly all the time, so if for some reason this just hasn't updated yet, then we'll deal with that later. But I'll show you screenshots of hourly, but it's not hourly, it's every 2 hours. And let's just give it a few minutes. Well, I should have waited long enough. I was letting a big jet fly over because I don't like to hear them in my video. But I don't have the hourly yet. Now, I have not ever seen this. It says hourly forecasts are not available. I get this all the time, the hourly forecast. Again, you'll see this on the screen. You're going to see every 2 hours. If you're doing basic weather with the Mini 2, it only goes out to, I think, 3 or 4 days. If you're doing extended, it goes out to 6 or 7 days. All right, so you get better information from what I've seen with the Mini 2 on the weather. What I really want to talk to you about right now is why one versus the other. So if you're a hiker or a backpacker, or maybe you're out and you're on rivers and you're a kayaker or you're boating or you're rafting, well, this is better by far. Always, it's better to have because you're going to see your tracks on this. You're going to be able to see the map on the phone when you're synced, and you just get more information. On the ZOLEO, you can't really see your weather. You really can't see, you can't navigate. You can see your map sometimes if you can see your tracks, and if you shared location, you can see where you're at. Again, I'm going to do a more in-depth video on that probably this weekend to test that out a little bit more. But you just can't do as much on the ZOLEO. I will say, if all you want is a communication device, the ZOLEO is the right one for you. Now, I would say take a look at the Garmin inReach Messenger, because that does really almost the same things. You can't see maps on it, but just like the ZOLEO, where you can go from Wi-Fi to cell service to satellite service. On the Garmin inReach Messenger, it does the same thing, Wi-Fi self-service to satellite. They're both great communicators, but that's really what I would use it for. If you already have a way to navigate, okay, the Messenger will help you now to communicate and be able to two-way message and get SOS. So if you were a camper and you just went out to places like Colorado and you didn't have cell service a lot, but you didn't need to navigate, well, putting either one of, not this one, you can do it to this too, but the ZOLEO or the inReach Messenger, if you just put it down on the table, then people can use that to two-way message. But at least one person can message and you can then communicate with people. Well, this isn't exhaustive on either one of these, but like I said, I do have playlists on the Mini 2 for sure. The ZOLEO, I really need to create a playlist on and dig deeper into each thing that it does, and I will do that. I will create a playlist on the ZOLEO. I'm going to create a playlist on the ACR Bivy Stick, and the Bivy Stick I'll put in the description below. Also a link if you're interested in that. Again, the Garmin inReach Messenger information will be below. So I know I'm covering a lot of things here, but I wanted to hit the bigger picture, the big, 10,000, 20,000 foot view of these, not digging into the details so much. But I have done that, and I will. If you've got any questions, you want me to look at something in more detail, or maybe I've stated something incorrectly and you disagree, or you're saying, well, you want to tell me that there's something I need to learn a little bit more. That happens all the time. I'm learning quite a bit out here always, and I learn a lot from all of you. So please leave comments below and advise, tips, tricks, or even criticisms, because it really helps me. It helps me to come back out here in the future and create better videos so that I can relay more accurate information to everybody in the future. I almost forgot something. I told you at the beginning I was going to let you know about the top 11 satellite communicators of 2023. I've already done a video on that. It's in the description below. Check it out, because I go into a lot of detail of what messengers are better, or communicators are better for if you're four-wheeling or ATVs. Maybe you're a hunter and you want a dog tracker. Maybe you're just camping. Maybe you're hiking. I break it down by that. And then I also give you my favorites, and I tell you what I think are the best satellite communicators. So check out that information in the description below. I'll have like a double line or something right near the top where it really jumps out, because you really need to take a look at that, because that'll help you decide on what's the best satellite communicator for you, or maybe somebody else is looking. So it's really helpful, and I hope you like it. Thanks again for joining me out here today. Please like, subscribe, share, and turn on notifications so you'll be alerted as soon as I put out new videos. And if you'd like to support Hiking Emergency Beacon, there's a link in the description below. Thanks again, and I'll see you back out here in Colorado in the next video.